This is about the latest release of Dcc Ex, a budget DCC command station, which does a lot more. And it's based on the Arduino. Basically, simplistic terms, power supply, an Uno, and a motor shield. So what do I need for a basic setup hardware? Well, you can have a Nano, Uno, or a Mega. It doesn't have to be a genuine. It can be a clone. So, you know, whatever. I think we've all got an Uno or a Mega somewhere in our drawers that we've not used or on a project. Then you need a recommended motor shield. Now, the first one is the Arduino motor shield, the genuine one, which now are very expensive. The Deep Robot is a clone, reasonably priced. But the one I use most of all is a Flash Tree, which I ordered from America, and are relatively inexpensive. Then power supply. This has been a bit of a talking about. Actually, the motor shields are only rated for 12 volts, but they will take 15 volts. Anything above that, and you're on dodgy ground, really. And then you need your Windows PC initially. And then optional, well, a buck converter. That's to provide 79 volt DC to the Arduino when you put a Wi-Fi shield added to the command station. And then, of course, you can either have a Wi-Fi or Ethernet shield on top of your motor shield. And you can even put an LCD on top of that as well. So you can see which logo you've selected, etc., etc. So that was done at the end of April, but they're approximately the same. Uno clone, £15 on our favourite or unfavourite shop. Or a Mega, which is not much more than the Uno. It's value for money. It's VFM, really. And then the Flash Tree motor shield, I checked this the other day, and it's still $9.99 to buy. If you buy it from Flash Tree, it comes from China, and I think all in all, it's about £9 or £10 with the postage. So they're relatively cheap and they work. Now, what do I need for a basic setup software? Well, first of all, you need the Arduino IDE installed on your machine. And at the moment, the current Arduino IDE is 1.8.19. So you need to install that. This just needs to be on your PC as it runs in the background. You don't need to worry about coding if you don't want to. The option is there if you want to play around with the Arduino software for the command station. You can. It's open source. But for just to set it up, you don't have to worry. You just need this to sit on your machine. And then you need to download the EX installer. So this is the automated installer that will install the operating system on the Arduino to run DCC++. Hardware setup. Well, there's a little bit of hardware. There's no soldering. There's no jumper wires anymore. You've got a motor shield. But the thing that you must do with the motor shield is remember to cut the VIN connect underneath. This is so that the motor shield does not take any power from the Arduino. That's very important, and you must do that. We don't want to damage our Unos or Megas. And then you just stack the motor shield onto the Arduino. Do not, at this point, do not apply any power to the motor shield. It's not necessary in the initial stages. Now, to install the Dcc Ex software in the Arduino, first of all, we need to connect the Arduino and motor shield to a Windows PC. We don't have to worry about at the moment which COM port that the Windows machine has selected for the Arduino. That will come later. Then when you've extracted the zip file or WinRAR or whatever it is, you'll get a load of files. And you need to click on the ex installer.exe. And when you've done that, you'll get a screen like this, and it will tell you that it's detected an Arduino Mega or Mega 2560 or whatever on the COM port, and you need to remember that COM port. And then you can select your command station, board, your motor shield, and then your COM port. You then have options to select an LCD, network for your Wi-Fi card, either a Wi-Fi card or an Ethernet card. And then it's as simple as pressing the compile and upload button, and away we go. And this is what happens when you're uploading. Get the messages on the screen. That's it. And then you get a message that you've uploaded and verified to COM4, and it's uploaded successfully. But again, remember that it's on COM4. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of a warning here. If in doubt, always use a separate supply for your Arduino. It's important, because you're going to put 15 volts or 12 volts into your motor shield, and you don't want to use the same supply as the motor shield. You'd rather do it with a buck converter or a separate DC power supply for your Mega or Uno, whatever you've got underneath. I personally run mine at 12 volt. So, and I haven't got a Wi-Fi shield on, so I get away with splitting the 12 volt and feeding my Arduino and my motor shield off the same supply. But if I put a Wi-Fi shield on, I would not be able to do that. Now, you can connect it all up. You've got your PC, got your Arduino. Now, your programming track is the terminals B on your motor shield. Your main track is the terminal A, and your power in is on that terminal. With JMRI, you can use Decoder Pro, and also you can use a throttle with JMRI. So you could either use the same piece of track or separate tracks. I've got a programming track on its own with an Uno and a motor shield. and I've got a switch. I can switch over so it either programming track or main layout track, so I can test if it works. And then you've got an option with throttles. You connect it to the main layout track, Arduino to the PC. You connect it, you've got JMRI running. Well, first of all, you've got your phone, tablet, app. Android phones seem to be better, more options than an iPhone. You've got less options with an iPhone. You've also got the DCC++ web throttle, which you can run from the cloud or download off the website. And that talks directly to the Arduino. Now, simple automation with your command station. I've tried this and it works a treat, but again, I still need JMRI. The spare pins available on the Uno are the digital ones 5, 6, and 7, and the analog A2, A3, A4, and A5. Now, using Howard Watkins' Jython script back and forth and 2 sensors, I can make the train run backwards and forwards with, and of course, being DCC, we've got deceleration and acceleration. And the train loco always stops in the same place. I've added a link onto the presentation, which you'll be able to, it's an article on YouTube by a guy called Tom's Trains in America. And he explains how to add sensors to your DCC++ base station using JMRI. My basic command station, can I connect it to Merg Kits? Yes, you can. But unfortunately, we still need JMRI and the Windows PC. Same as the Merg command station, you would still need JMRI and your Windows PC. You can connect your Arduino via the booster kit. But to be quite honest, do you or don't you? Motor shields will kick out 1.5 amp, probably 3 to 5 double gauge locos will run on that, maybe less if they sound. You can then connect it to the Merg accessory decoder, steady state output. It was kit number 53. Unfortunately, you have to modify this, and there is a technical bulletin how to do that. And it's fairly simple. You end up with more wire links than you do anything else. And you can then drive servo 1, the single servo driver, kit 77, servo 4G. So it will connect to Merg Kits as it stands. Now, advanced command station, this is Arduino Mega only, because you need the increased memory within the chip. You can't do this with a Uno. So you can add a Wi-Fi shield or Ethernet or even Bluetooth. Somebody's been experimenting with Bluetooth. And there's an option that you can use a DF robot IO sensor shield, which enables accessing the spare pins from the Mega much easier. You've then got 3 pins: signal, ground, and plus VE. Plus, you've got access to easy access to the I2C. You can also add an LCD or OLED at this point. Again, I'm sorry, you need to make a separate power supply for this. It's just a reminder that, yeah, needs a separate power supply now. Can I now drive trains without my PC and JMRI? Yes, you can now. You can. There is some Android apps which will talk to the over Wi-Fi, which will talk to the command station direct. So you no longer need your PC other than for setting up. So you've now got the facility to operate your command station without a PC at all, just using your smartphone or tablet. There has been numerous incarnations of making a separate Arduino Wi-Fi or Bluetooth handheld throttle. I've included a link to a new one that a guy's using an Adafruit touchscreen on top of a Mega, which he can then set his CVs on the programming track with a handheld. Not cheap, because last time I looked at the Adafruit touchscreen, it was £40, which to me is a lot of money. But somebody's done it here with a keypad, and you've got a control knob for speed. Now, your command station is now in the advanced mode, so it now can connect to additional Merg kits because you've got so many using the spare I/O pins, and I think there's about 40. So you've got other options, and plus I2C. You still need JMRI at this point. Using a hardware link, the input modules on the EasyBus, there should be no reason why you can't connect the command station to EasyBus using the EasyBus input modules. The same applies to CBus. CAN 8C, you can use that, and you can get your command station to access that. A simple, nothing complicated, just a simple CBus. But the biggest change that's happened on the 4 is now the hardware link via I2C. So you can connect loads of stuff now via I2C. You can use analog, a digital converter to I2C, so you can take all the sensors that are analog and connect to those. It starts to make it really, really complete, the command station now, because it can do a lot of things. It's not for the enormous layout, but it's for a big layout. You know, you can do a lot with it. In fact, it should now connect to most Merg sensors, whether the pocket money kits or Dcc Ex, etc. Now we also have access to automation. Dcc Ex Rail is installed at the same time, but again, you need a Mega. There's not enough memory in the Uno for this. Things you can do with the X Rail. Well, you can create routes, set multiple turnout signals, a press of a button in web throttle or engine driver or Wii throttle compatible throttles that are available. Automatically drive multiple trains simultaneously and manage complex interactions, such as single line working and crossovers by setting up automations. Drive trains manually, then hand them over to an automation. Animate accessories such as lights, crossings, or cranes. intercept turnout changes, so automatically adjust signals or other turnouts. They've, in the last few weeks, they've now added an automatic turntable. So you can automatically drive your locomotive onto the turntable, and if it's in an automation, it can set a route or turn it. I think that also allows for a traverser, because there's nothing much difference from a stepper on a turntable to a stepper on a traverser. So that now opens other options. And of course, you can turn on the coffee pot when the train reaches the station. You know, there's lots of things you can do, and that's just a list. What you don't need with automation with DCC++ EX rail, you don't need JMRI after you set it up or any additional utilities. You don't need engine driver or any other Wii throttle app. A separate computer living under your layout. Knowledge of C++ or Python, Jython programming, like on the back and forth. Here's a few examples. Automating a train, simple loop. We've got a sensor, S40, positioned wherever to suit your deceleration of your loco, really, so your loco stops always in the first place. And the amount of text you need, that's it. So first of all, you just name it, you've already put it in, automation 4 rounding circles. Forward 50, that's the DC speed. At sensor 40, stop the train, so it'll decelerate to a stop. And then you've got a delay, random, whatever. And then you set off again. You start a bit slower. And after 40 has been passed, you go back to the start of the loop. So again, you pick up speed. And then when you get round to sensor pin 40 again, you stop the train. Single line shuttle. You've got 2 sensors, 1 at each end. And again, 10 lines, well, 12 lines of just text. Simple text, delay random, forward, at, stop. And then follow. So it follows a sequence again forever. And then for the DC boys, somebody has now come up with a DC plus Wi-Fi cabs of JMRI. So again, you have got your Mega or Uno and your motor shield. And now you can control your train locos and trains on their layouts. You can combine your simplicity of a DC throttle with a sophistication of JMRI, control, signaling, sensors, even Wi-Fi throttles. Wi-Fi throttles for DC train control. And it, as the gentleman says, what if you can put such a layout control together for less than the cost of an old dual throttle power pack? Well, you can. And it's again a motor shield, probably a Mega. This gentleman who's designed it, he's got, instead of having 2 cabs, cab A and cab B, he has got another 4 on top of that. And you've got JMRI, and you've got your smart device to control the speed of your locos. I'll put a link there. It's Jeff Bunzer. I think he's a professor, and he's written an article on DC Wi-Fi. Very interesting, worth considering. And then in summary, the system is cheap, it's easy, it's no soldering, especially for people like me with bad eyesight. It's constructed from standard components. But unfortunately, my presentation provides probably more questions than answers. Any questions?